And with that, we can wrap the book on 2021. It's been an interesting year all around, and it didn't go exactly as I had planned. I planned on producing more videos, not making a video in March and then going radio silent until November. Life is funny, you know, but enough about that. Next year is going to be a big year for the channel. I'm going to be going more in-depth on an update video why that is. But for now, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to be going through the games that I have completed this year. I've actually completed a lot by my standards, but we're going to split it up into two categories. The first category is going to be games that I completed that actually were released in 2021. The second category will be games that I completed that were not released in 2021. And with all that out of the way, let's get started by taking a look at games that came out this year. Just a heads up, because I forgot to mention, we will be ranking these games from least favorite to most favorite in my opinion. Now, let's get on to the ranking. Sonic Colors Ultimate. Alright, so I'm gonna save my full in-depth thoughts about this game for a later video, but here's all I'm gonna say. I did not have a pleasant time with this game. I overall enjoyed my time, but there were many things that just frustrated me to no end in this game. It's probably my second least favorite Sonic Boost game, right in front of Sonic Forces. By the way, if you can't tell, there is no script for this video, just a heads up. Anyways, Sonic Colors. I also played the remastered version of this game, Sonic Colors Ultimate, which may have influenced my overall opinion of the game, because in my opinion, the graphic style has not aged nearly as well as the original Colors has, and that's mainly a problem thanks to the lighting, or the bloom, I guess, if you will. But yeah, again, I'm gonna save my major thoughts on this game for a video that'll be coming out in the future, but overall I can say, while it's not my favorite, I know there are plenty of people out there who enjoy Sonic Colors. It's just not the game for me. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. So during the summer, I somehow managed to snag myself a PS5, and this was the first PS5 really exclusive that I beat for the system. There's another game that had an add-on for the PS5 we'll talk about later, but as far as full-fledged games go, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was the first PS5 exclusive that I managed to complete. It's also the first Ratchet & Clank game that I have completed, not sure if I mentioned that. Overall, it taught me that this may not be the series for me. While I did enjoy my time with the game, I really kind of wish it would have been a bit shorter. The game was around, I think, 13 to 15 hours, when I think it should have been 10 to 12 hours. But again, that's just me. I know there are plenty of people who absolutely love this game. I do think the adaptive triggers on the PlayStation 5 controller really helped me enjoy the game a lot more than I would have without those triggers. I also found the story to be quite predictable in a lot of parts, and again, I know this is a game that I believe is primarily meant for children, but there are also a lot of older Ratchet & Clank fans who have been with the series since the first one on PlayStation 2, and I think they could have done more to engage the older part of their audience, you know, the part that's, again, been with the series since the beginning. But overall, this was a fun adventure. I say if you have a PlayStation 5, you should go out and pick up a copy of the game. Maybe wait for it to go on sale, though. I only got the game because it came with my PlayStation 5, so there you go. Persona 5 Strikers. Okay, so this one's kind of cheating. At the time of recording this, I haven't actually completed the entirety of Persona 5 Strikers' story. But I'm about, I believe, 28 to 35 hours into the story, so I've played it enough to form my opinion on it, and I do plan on completing the story. I do enjoy the Persona 5 cast. I have yet to play Persona 5 Royal. I have a copy, I just haven't played it yet, and I do really look forward to giving that game a try, mostly thanks to the story and the cast of the game. It's the gameplay, though, that holds it back for me. I believe you call these types of games Muso games? And I'm not a big fan of these types of games. That's just me, though. Again, I know there are lots of fans out there, but the gameplay gets a bit repetitive for me. which means I have to take long breaks between the games and eventually go to other games in the meantime. But again, it's the story that makes Persona 5 Strikers so endearing and fun to me. I have yet to spoil the ending of this game for me, and so I'm very much looking forward to seeing how it ends. Overall, it has a really, really great story, and if you are okay with a tiny bit of repetition, then this is absolutely worth a buy. You can either get it for the Nintendo Switch or the PS4. I personally own the Switch version, but I think most people will go for the PS4 version. Again, get it and have a good time. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade, Intermission. Again, this one might also be cheating. This isn't technically a full game, I'm technically just talking about the Yuffie DLC that came with the PS5 version of this game. But seeing as how this story had a beginning, middle, and end, it was roughly about 5 hours long, I am gonna consider it anyway, because I really enjoyed this. Not only did it have the fun gameplay of Final Fantasy VII Remake, it also had the really engaging story of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yuffie herself is an amazing character, and I really am looking forward to seeing how she interacts with the rest of the cast when the second part of the remake comes out. Again, the gameplay is just as fun, if not more, than the original Final Fantasy VII, thanks to the new partner system with her AI partner, whose name is currently escaping my mind right now. Sorry. So if I like it so much, why is it not my favorite game of the year? Honestly, it probably would be, if it wasn't only 5 hours long and technically just an expansion to Final Fantasy VII Remake. Again though, that's not going to stop me from saying this is maybe my favorite thing I played this year, only held back by just how long it is. Going into the top 3, we have No More Heroes 3. Travis Touchdown returns in what is undoubtedly my favorite entry in the No More Heroes franchise. The gameplay is absolutely amazing in this. It's probably the best in the No More Heroes franchise. You know what? Scratch that. It is the best in the No More Heroes franchise. The story, too, is absolutely, completely bonkers, insane, wild. Like, literally, no other story this year will compare to just how crazy the story of this game is. There's aliens, there's references to Rocky, there's sumo wrestling, and an ending that was so crazy I couldn't believe they were going there. My only problem with No More Heroes 3, and this is a problem I don't think many people will have about the game, is just how much it curses. I get it, a lot of games curse nowadays, but No More Heroes 3 does it to such an absurd degree that I'm not really a fan of it. But that's just me, I know most people won't be bothered by that. Even with that, No More Heroes 3 is an absolutely amazing game. The only thing holding it back gameplay-wise is the performance in the overworld. But really, you're here for the amazing combat. And frankly, it speaks for itself. In second place, we have the Nier Replicant Remake. What an absolute surprise this game was. I bought it because it was really cheap compared to what it was going for, and man, what an amazing time I had with this game. While the combat is really good, it's not what made the game for me. It was the story. The story sucked me in almost like no other game this year. It was another case where, like last year, I got sucked into Final Fantasy VII Remake, but this year it was Nier Replicant that sucked me in. The characters are unlike anything I've ever seen in another game. They're that good. And again, the combat isn't half bad either. Now, at the time of recording this, I've only completed Ending A, and there are about 4 other endings if I'm correct, and all those will add more story to the game that I currently don't have the context for. So I'm definitely looking forward to going back and getting the other endings. So to anyone out there that's listening right now, if you are interested in the Nier franchise at all, absolutely pick up this game. You will not regret it. It is absolutely worth the price. But, with that being said, what game could top this? Taking the #1 spot is Resident Evil Village. I played Resident Evil 7 when the gold edition of the game came out, and I had a really fun time with it, but I wouldn't say it got me into Resident Evil. Resident Evil Village, though, has made me a full bona fide Resident Evil fan. I absolutely love this game. It's gotta be in my top 10. And just to tell you why, while I enjoyed the other games on this list, I enjoyed Resident Evil so much that I went back and beat it 2 times again right after beating it the first time. And I currently started another playthrough of the game after recording the footage you're seeing here. Resident Evil Village is a game that I absolutely adore. It fixes all the problems I had with Resident Evil 7 and addresses some problems I didn't even know were there. I love this game. I can't state that enough. And I'm so excited to see where Capcom is going to take the Resident Evil franchise after this. I'm really excited to see what content they have upcoming for this game, Resident Evil Village. With that being said, that is all the games I beat that came out this year. Now, let's talk about the games that I beat that did not come out this year. Starting off with my least favorite and going to my most favorite. DMC, Devil May Cry, the Definitive Edition. I finally got around to playing this game, and wouldn't you know it, I did not have a good time with it. There's so much that's been said about this game that I'm going to keep it very brief here. The story is absolute trash. Ninja Theory, I don't know what you were thinking taking the amazing characters that Capcom had come up with and making your own versions, which is not a bad idea in concept, but your own versions are absolutely terrible characters. Like, oh my gosh, what were you thinking? Don't even get me started on Virgil. I might make a whole video on just why I hate this version of Virgil. He's so bad. And the gameplay? Look, the gameplay has its moments of being really, really fun, and then it just has its moments where I want to break my controller in half. Like, the enemies that can only be killed with a certain kind of weapon. What were you thinking, Ninja Theory? Oh my gosh. And again, I'm playing the definitive edition of the game. Certain additions that were added in this game that I deem necessary for a Devil May Cry game weren't even in the original version. Like, the original was locked at 30 frames per second instead of 60, and turbo mode wasn't included. Now, normally, turbo mode wouldn't be a necessity, but in this game, I find it to be so slow that without turbo mode, it's pretty much unplayable in my opinion. So, no, I did not enjoy this game, I did not enjoy the story, I did not enjoy the characters, and I definitely didn't enjoy the gameplay. This is a game I would absolutely skip. Thankfully, this is the only game on this list that I did not enjoy. We can only go up in quality from here. Spider-Man 2 for the PSP. So I got a PSP earlier this year, and I finally got a chance to play this game. I've been super curious about this game ever since I saw gameplay online, as instead of mimicking the console version of Spider-Man 2, you know, the open world one that everyone really likes, it mimics the original Spider-Man movie game, you know, the more linear level-to-level game. And I'm actually okay with that, as I really, really like that game. So I was very curious to see how they would adapt that style of gameplay to Spider-Man 2. And, yeah, it's a fun time. Granted, I think the console version of Spider-Man 2 is probably a better game. It just innovated in so many ways that this game didn't. But I still think it's a fun time. I don't really have much to say. If you've played the first Spider-Man movie game, you've probably played this game. They're that identical. Except this one lacks a camera control stick, so yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Overall, though, I enjoyed my time with it.
Resident Evil 5.
I think the hatred for this game is a bit overblown. Yes, the partner system is the worst thing about the game, and if it wasn't included, it'd probably be better than Resident Evil 4. Yes, I really am saying that. But it's there, it brings the game down, but even with that, I think Resident Evil 5 is a really enjoyable game. While the campaign itself may have a lot of flaws, I think the Mercenaries mode here is easily the best I've played in the series. Granted, I haven't played Resident Evil 6's Mercenary mode that much. But overall, I think Resident Evil 5 is a really enjoyable game, and even fixes a lot of control issues I have with Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4. Even though Resident Evil 5 did fix some control issues I have with this game, that is not even close enough to allow that game to top this one. Resident Evil 4 is nothing short of a masterpiece. and I'm so upset it took me until 2021 to finally give this game a shot. It's so good, guys. Like, everything you've heard about this game is true, and then some. The gameplay, amazing. The weapons, amazing. The merchant, amazing. Ashley, okay, Ashley's not that amazing, but still. And the characters, oh my gosh. You will never find a more classic cast than the cast of Resident Evil. I mean, of course, you've got Leon S. Kennedy, you've got Ada Wong, you've got Krauser, you've got Wesker, who's not in the game that much, but he's still awesome. And you've got the villains. Oh my gosh, the villains are so cool in this game. I mean, what else can I say about Resident Evil 4? It's just amazing. Again, it's a masterpiece. So why isn't it number 1? Because I played Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. I love this game. After getting a PSP, I knew the first game that I was going to complete. Dissidia. And when I couldn't complete that, I completed Crisis Core instead, and thank goodness I did. I've been wanting to complete Crisis Core for 10 years. No, I am not kidding, I've wanted to play it for that long, but haven't been able to. And man, guys, this game is so good. The combat is fun, if a bit janky at points, and the story. Guys, I've stressed how much I love a good story in this video, but Crisis Core may actually just be my favorite, and it comes down to the main character himself, Zack. Zack is maybe one of my favorite video game characters of all time now. Like, I love this guy. He has such an upbeat attitude that you just can't help but root for him. And man, it is so depressing to see what the story has him go through. Like, my dude did not deserve half the crap that happened to him in this game. Like, it just ain't fair, man. Even with Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out and literally just blowing my mind, Crisis Core still managed to be an absolute treasure of a game to play, and I would highly, highly recommend it. And with that, we've looked at every single game I completed this year. What games did you complete this year? Thank you all so much for watching this video. Again, I'm going to be having an update video come out fairly soon to explain what's going to be going on with the channel this year. Again, I want to thank all of you for sticking around, and I will see you all next time. Later, everyone. Happy New Year.